Hey, Kim Rowe here, and I am finally back to this piece. Sorry it took so long. I really wanted to get to it before we went away for our Memorial Day weekend, but I didn't get to it. I was literally working at the shop 2 days, and I thought I'd do it at night, but then I was packing and, all the things. So anyway, I am here, I'm back, and I'm excited. So I am going to just, I have all my stuff, but it's not all organized and all that. So you're just gonna have to kind of watch me and see what I do. I know when I added these here, I did not add the one more there, and we never did the glazing with the, not glazing, but wash with this one. So I will do that again. So I'm gonna bring you over, I'm gonna make one more of the molds with the Primitive Mold. And the other ones have dried and they're hardened, and we're gonna glue them on, and we're just gonna play around with it. So hopefully you will enjoy this. I'm gonna bring you over here, put you over my shoulder, see if this will work. So I'm gonna be working down here. So let me see if I can show you. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm starting with my mold here. I'm gonna move you over just a little bit because I think I don't wanna, I'm in my garage again, in my setup here. Okay, so hopefully you can see this. All right, move some of this stuff out of the way. I've got all kinds of colors and things. We're gonna put the top coat on some of it. I was debating whether to use wax, but I think I'm gonna use a top coat. So first of all, what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to open up my air dry clay because hopefully you can see this. My light is, let me move it over a little bit. See, like I said, I'm kind of jumping in. There we go. Okay. So I'm just gonna make another one of these little leaf things here. So I'm gonna first put my cornstarch in here. I did this before. Actually, let me make sure I'm doing the right one now that I'm looking at this. Hold on. Let's see. I'm gonna hold it up, and I think, yeah, that's it. If it isn't, I'm gonna make it work. I think that should be the right one now. Okay. So I just like to dust a little bit of this cornstarch into the mold. This is a new package of clay, which is always nice. And what I'm gonna do is grab my bag to put the remainder in. I do a little bit in here, but I'm just going to pull off what I need, which is not too much if I have too much here. And I'm going to close this up and put it in the bag. I like to put it in as soon as possible and keep it from getting air. And then I squeeze the air out of this bag as well. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is just press it into this mold, and then we'll add it to the piece. I've had a few people actually message me on my YouTube channel wanting to see the finishing part of this video, so I do apologize that it's taken me longer to get back to this piece. And it's funny because if I had brought it with me to New Jersey, I would have been doing it there because yesterday was a little chilly and I was kind of bored, but it was fine. I was hanging out with my family. So if you're popping on, let me know where you're watching from, and also if you watch the replay, let me know. And then also let me know if you have ever been to the Jersey Shore. I was in Ocean City, New Jersey, which is kind of where I have grown up going, and my parents have a house there, so it's kind of special to me, but any beach will do. Okay, so now I have this in here. I'm just going, and I just put the cornstarch in it beforehand, so it's gonna pop out really easily, which is nice. Just kind of comes right out. So there we go. And let's see, I forget what color I used. Hopefully I have it here. I think it was Aqua Provence. Oh yes, I see it over there. Okay. So, and oh my gosh, I was just sitting out on my deck. We got home today and the neighbors are behind us are having work done. They have an old barn that is being restored. They don't even live there right now. They're just restoring this property, which is really, really fun to watch. But all that to say, then they came and they were cutting the grass. I don't know whether it was the people working on the stonework or the grass, but oh my gosh, my nose just like, I kept coughing and sneezing, and I don't really feel like I have major allergies, but something got into my sinuses, and I'm a little stuffy if I sneeze. Excuse me. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm just, now you could do this with a brush or a little, tongue depressor or something like that. I just happen to use my hand. It's a little easier. Put the glue on and I just get to all the edges there. So I'm just gonna stick this on here. Let's see. I don't think I need to do anything else over here. So actually I'm gonna put this down and I'm gonna move you back over because now we're gonna be over here. This is very high tech, just FYI. I have my camera on this little stand and it's not very high tech, but it's gonna work. Okay, so let's see here. So now you can see, we're gonna glue that right here. Hello, Denise. Thanks for popping on. Okay, so we're gonna put this, and I'm gonna try and make it similar to the other one over there as far as where it's placed. So I need to put it a little bit closer. I think that should be okay. Actually, let me move it over here just a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna try and wipe some of that glue off, but we're gonna cover that anyway, so it'll be fine and it dries clear. Okay, so now that is stuck on there. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take, and what's cool about the air dry clay is that you can, I'm just gonna, actually, you know what, I'm gonna take a little paper towel and wet it so that I can get some of that glue off. It's not really a big deal because I can paint over it, but it'll be easier if I just wipe it off now in between here. Okay. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is just take my Aqua Provence, which is by Farmhouse Paint. Now, if you watched this before, I painted the base in Greige Evolution, which is a Farmhouse Paint product. And then we stamped the IOD, the new Pennsylvania folk stamp. We put some molds on with the Primitive Mould. And then I used DIY paint to kind of fill in, and also did a wash on here, and I'll do it here, and I'm gonna do it here. Now I did add this down here. This is a mold that I created and then let it harden and then painted it. But I'm not liking that Adobe color quite as much, so I'm gonna probably paint over that. In fact, maybe I'll paint it with this, since I have this out. Okay, so this is, again, this is Aqua Provence. I'm gonna just, I only have a few of my brushes here with me, so I'm just gonna use this fan brush. And I'm going to, now, I'm just gonna, because this is still, oh, you know what? Let me pull this off. See, I told you I wasn't totally, I'm gonna pull this off while it's still, because, see if I can. I think I can. Oh, I know what I can use. Because I should have painted it first. And then it won't get all over my thing, my piece. Okay. So I'm gonna paint that over here really quickly. And I'm gonna wipe this off. See, this just shows you, you can't mess this stuff up. You really can't mess it up. I'm just gonna wipe that off. And this underneath, because this is Evolution paint, it's like very durable. So I can rub this and it's not gonna come off. Now over here, this would come off because it's the DIY paint and it's not sealed yet. But but this one I'm good with. So I'm sorry, I'm just gonna do this really quickly over here and dab this, and we'll get this covered, and then I'll let it sit just for a little bit because, and then it'll let it dry, let the paint dry. And then we'll put it on there, because what I'm gonna do is do a little wash with the DIY paint, okay? All right, so we're gonna let that sit. Although I don't wanna let it sit too much on the glued side, so yeah, put it back on. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is, I will do the wash on this one just to show you. Let me move you over just a little bit here so you can see. And what I did was I used the DIY Bohemian Blue and a damp brush. I used, let's see here, I think I used something like this, because this is a chip brush and it's gonna get in there and kind of, I don't want it to be like really a fine painting. I want it to be more of like this is a wash here, and I was kind of just putting it all over. So this was actually Apothecary, and then there's a little bit of the Bohemian Blue around that. So I'm gonna use the Bohemian Blue first, and then I'll use the Apothecary. And this, I just keep all these containers when we get, like this was fruit from Wegmans, keep all this stuff. Just gonna put a little bit of this paint in here, just a little bit. And I'm going to, now this is dried in here, but I'm just going to get it really wet so that I can kind of make it like a wash, okay? And then what I'm gonna do is just dab this. And because the paint underneath is, if you saw me do this before, is Aqua Provence Farmhouse, it's got a built-in top coat. So I can put this on and then take my little rag here and just wipe it back. And that Aqua Provence is not gonna wipe off, but the Bohemian Blue is sticking into the little crevices. And I wanna get in these crevices just a little bit more. So I'm going in with this brush. Like I said, this one is a really great brush for doing kind of artistic techniques and stuff. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull it up in here, just this little bit of a wash. And if you saw it on the other side, which I can pull back over, you can see it, but it looks like it's much lighter. That's because as this dries, it lightens, but it's going to darken when we put the top coat on it, okay? So see how cool that looks? It just kind of makes the little veins in those things pop. Now I'm gonna give you a little bit of a wider view here of this piece. And again, I'm gonna be using my spritzer bottle just to get it a little bit wet. And this is where I'm just going to add this wash and add it up in here. And you can, this paint's gonna be able to come off because it's on this, the base of this is already sealed. So I can play around with this and lighten this up. Kind of like I want it to be like a wash, almost like a watery color look. And it can be a little drippy as well. So if I wanted it to be more drippy, I could let this, drip down. So now what I did here was I painted, it was called Cake Batter, was the DIY paint, Bohemian Blue, and then over here I used Apothecary. So that's gonna really brighten up when I put the top coat on it, but I think I am gonna just continue this washed look on the whole piece to bring it all together. So I'm gonna grab some more of this Bohemian Blue, and I think I'm going to just go around the edge of this, even onto the raised part. water here. So you want this to be kind of runny. It's very, you can use this on fabric too, which will be another video for future, but we're gonna just continue to, and then I'll show you what I did to the drawer handles. I took a couple little molds and did something fun with those too. Okay, so now I'm gonna take this again and just wanna soften this a little bit, and if I need my spray, I can do that. Now I don't wanna wipe in here too much because that's where it's not sealed yet. It's, that's where I did the kind of painting the stamp that I did. Now, if you've seen some of my friends recently, they've done some cool things with the stamps too, where they almost stamped, colored in, and then re-stamped again to give it an outline, and that was kind of fun. So I did think about doing that, but for now I'm just gonna see how this turns out, and if I need a little extra outline, I can. Okay, so that's going to be just a little bit of a wash, and then I may add the little bit of the wash of the apothecary in there, but I think for now I'm going to continue down, just moving down here a little bit to the doors. So, and here's where, actually, let me take that, let's see, because I don't know if I like, actually, let me use this first. I'm going to, maybe I'll like it more when I do this, because I see that, the Adobe color underneath more, and I don't want to, I miss like the edges of that, so maybe this is what it needs. Okay, and then I'm going to just, now the other thing you could do too is take a little chip brush. If I want to pull some of this out, you can kind of, while it's still wet, get in those little crevices and pull it out, which I like that. So let me get this a little more wet in here. And let's see, what do I want to do? I think I'll just bring this, I mean, you can't go wrong with Bohemian Blue. It's a great color. In fact, this is Rio here by Farmhouse. It's similar, but it's got a little more navy in it. It's kind of a combination of navy and teal. Okay. So like I said, just play around with this. You could do this on like a board if you want to practice first. But if you've never, and sometimes I don't use these, I'll use the blue shop towels. They give it, because this may give you a little bit of a, you know, like lint or something. Right now it's not, but it's, you know, may come apart a little bit. So you might want to just, now I don't want to go totally through here because this is still not sealed and I don't want to mess up my yellow in there. So I think I'm going to just go around this, just the edges, bring that back in there, and begin down here. Just kind of outlining this little design. And if you want to add multiple layers of this, you can. I think I'm going to stick with this for now. Now, this got a little bit dry, so I'm just going to, why is this not working? My spray bottle, there we go. Okay. Something's going on. My my spray bottle. I might have to get another one. Okay. So this is kind of creating a wash. Let's see, I think I just need that. I don't like how that looks on the edge. Okay. Let me know what you think, if you're liking this or if you are not quite sure, and that's okay. If it's not your thing, that's fine. So this is really, like, now what I'm doing is I'm just kind of dry brushing over this to kind of pull these colors in. There's barely anything on this brush, but I'm just kind of going around the edges of this. Okay, now I need a little more here. We'll do the same thing. So, oh, now what I need to do is glue that on there. Okay, let me grab that. So again, I did this earlier with the mold, and this is hardened and it's already painted with the IOD color. So I'm going to glue this, and hopefully this dried flat. I had it on a flat surface to dry. Normally when I glue my pieces, I do like I was about to do up there, which I'll grab that in a second, and put it on while it's still moldable. But let's put this down here, and we will let that sit for a minute, and then we'll put the Bohemian blue over it. Now let's grab this one while this is still, like I was saying, this is still moldable here. So I'm going to put the glue on this, since I took most of it off in my haste. Okay. And when you're using your fingers, you do start to get things sticking to it, so just be careful. Okay. And remember, get to the edges. If you don't get to the edges, you'll have some areas that it won't stick. Might pop up a little bit. Okay. So now we're going to reapply this back to where I had it. And let's see if we can get it in the right spot again. Okay. I think that looks pretty good. There we go. Okay, now we're gonna let that dry just a little bit before we do the wash on there. All right, I'm going to get the glue off of my hands. All right, so now I'm gonna go back down here, and I'm gonna do the wash around here, and then I'll do it on this little flower. And then what we'll do is we'll let this all dry, because see, it's really pretty much dry already. And we're gonna put our top coat over it, and you'll see how it'll just kind of bring that color out a little bit more. I may do a glaze at the end, I don't know. It's kind of fun to play around with this. So for this one here, let me get this, because I'm gonna put this one a little bit darker, just because it's, I want it to be, like, I wanna wipe it back, like I did on the leaves. I want to get these edges really good. Okay, now, let's see here, we'll use this. I don't want to wipe it too hard because I just glued it on. I don't want it to be falling off, but I could get this. I don't know why my water bottle's not working. Let's see. Okay, well, let me get my regular water bottle. But you can see if you get this a little bit wet, it's going to give you a little bit more of the, it's going to wipe a little bit back. And same with this. Let's just pull this back. Then I'll get this brush here to pull it out. Sometimes I do like it darker in there, but this one I'm just going for a little bit of a lighter look. So I'm going to Actually, let me get these are the towels I was telling you about that I use. If you've seen me before, you've probably seen me use these. And I'll get it wet with my other spray bottle. So let's see here, we'll just wipe this back. I'm trying to be a little bit careful not to wipe the flour because I don't want to pull that paint off. These flowers, not this other one here. I'm just going to pull this out. So these little chip brushes can be handy. This is a little one. Okay, now I'm just going to continue with my wash around here. See if you can see. I don't want to get too close to that flour, but I do. I didn't get it on here, so let me wipe that back. I don't know, maybe I do like it on there. I didn't do it on this side. You want to kind of, well, I did a little bit. You want it to match. So. Now you can see in here, this was an oak piece, so you can see it's picking up the grain, which is kind of cool. The other thing you could do too, which I'll have to use this one, which I don't usually like to use, but you can let things drip a little bit if you want it to get a little drippy. You don't want it totally drippy, but just lighten this up a little because you try and match what's over here. Okay. So it's all about kind of playing around with your piece and step back, look at it, see if you like it, see if you feel like you need to add a little something here or there, see if you need to take something off. But if you didn't get to see the first part of this, check it out. It's on my YouTube channel, which I'll put put in the comments afterward. The first part of it and kind of how we pulled this all together, my little planning stage, which is not like me normally, but I did because there was a bunch of us doing the reveal of the new products from IOD, and I wanted to be kind of prepared. Now I'm not, this is almost totally dry. That's why I'm not worried about, I'm just going over it. I wouldn't do this when it was really wet because I don't want to move these other colors like I was saying. But at this point, because there's hardly anything on this brush, I can come in and fill in these areas. Because I don't want to muddle up that yellow. I like the yellow. But I can always come back over it too and, do another coat over that if I want to. Okay. All right. Let's just get a little bit more up here. Okay. All right, I'm liking that. Now the only place I don't have any is right in here. But like I said, I want to have to do up here too, but this has to be totally dry, so I may have to wait on that. I might add a little bit of the apothecary in there. Just add a little water on there, and I'll get a tiny, tiny bit on my brush here. The knob's going to be on top of this flower, so that might be kind of cool. And I could add a little bit of this down the bottom too if I wanted to pull the whole thing together. It's a little bit darker over here, just add a little bit. Okay. So this is meant to look, I mean, I don't know if it looks Pennsylvania Dutch, but it looks, you know, I want it to look quite like whimsical and very, has some movement in it, if that makes sense. So now what I'm going to do is I want to show you, since this is dry over here and all this is dry, this I can't do it, but I wanted to show you me adding the top coat on here. So what I'm going to do is just take some varnish. I'm going to use a matte varnish, and let me get it, here it is, my brush. Grab these brushes, get these out of here. Oh, I had one more thing, I just saw these. I also wanted to add, look, I got these little guys here. But I think I'll top coat this all, because if I do this, then I won't be able to show you what I was going to show you. So I'm going to add those there, and if you saw the other video, I made these little pomegranates, which I think will go like that up there. So these are all molds that I made earlier, and now they've hardened. I painted them. We'll do the same thing as I did with the flowers and give a little wash to them as well. So I'm going to take my varnish. I'm just going to put a little bit in here. Not be much. And I'm going to use this little grip brush, which is a nice one for using with top coats, because it's got a nice angled and it leaves a nice smooth finish. So I'm just going to put a little bit on my brush, and we are going to, so you're going to see how this, hopefully you can see it in the video. Oh, let me move you up a little bit. Okay. So let me move it this way a little bit. Okay. So this is going to get darker as we paint these. In fact, I'll get up in here. It just brings out, and as it dries too, it's going to get darker. And it gives it that, you can see the, oops, a little clump of top coat in there. It gives it kind of it's a watercolory look, really, when you see these colors mixed together. Now this will just be the first coat, and then I will go back over. And I am kind of doing this just in random directions. I don't necessarily need it to, because it's kind of got movement, it doesn't have to be. Usually what I'll do is I'll do it in one direction. But because this has kind of this movement in here, I don't mind it. And I probably are going to come back with a glaze or something else, so it's fine. But if you can see, it's just darkening up those colors. When you use DIY paint, the top coat brings it back to life, which is kind of cool. I hope you've seen some other really cool products or projects done with this Pennsylvania folk art stamp, and then the Primitive Mould. They're just really kind of great combo together. Oh, now this one I just painted, so this may remove some of this, but we'll see. It's okay. The little one at the top I didn't do yet though. Okay, so let's see. This is pretty dry. I'm going to go ahead and do the bottom part here. And I'm kind of stippling into these areas because some of that bohemian blue is in there, and if I don't get it, it's not going to seal it. You know, if I don't get it in those little crevices. Now this is a matte top coat. You could do it with, you know, satin or whatever you'd like. I was kind of going for the matte since it's a kind of a simple I didn't want it to be shiny, let's just say that. So what you also want to do is just look, I like to look in these little crevices here because you want to try and get any drips, any areas where it pools up, and pull those out so that it doesn't dry and leave a little pool there. Okay, I think we can do this over here too. Yeah, I think we'll do this. This is gonna be cute. And I'll get it to one of the shops this week when I'm done. Although I think I still may be doing a couple things on the inside, so stay tuned if I decide to do something on the inside, which I think it would be adorable to do something on the inside. You will see me do it. And if you have any ideas for the inside, I'll open it up so I can show you. Please leave it in the comments. Kind of is pulled up in these little areas here. So sometimes I do take my little chip brush, which I had here, and I'll just kind of go in there, pull them out, so it kind of pulls that extra liquid out of there. It's over here too, because you don't want it sitting in there, because then it kind of makes it look not good. Okay. Here. See, when you get down low like this, you can really see, you can see other areas that maybe needed to get touched up. So this will dry pretty quickly, and then I'll add my little things up here. I'll add my things there. We'll paint them. But here is, let me show you what the inside looks like. So I definitely would like to paint this because obviously I just did. You know, kind of came through a little bit. So I would definitely wanted to paint this. I started doing the edge here, but I think what I'm going to do on the inside here is paint this in the Bohemian blue. I thought that would be really cool, and then maybe put something in the back there. I mean, it's so well made for a child's little desk. This is all little sections, so cute. So anyway, I'll come back on probably. I can't promise when because I work tomorrow, but who knows? We'll get to doing that. So anyway, I wanted to show you this. Oh, I know what else I wanted to show you is the little knobs. So this one, and I did put the little mold on here. This one I tested with doing a glaze on it, but I think I'm gonna repaint it because I'm not sure that I'm gonna do that brown glaze, and then I'll put the Bohemian blue over it. So just like I did with the other stuff, I just took the knobs that came with this, painted them, and then put these little flowers on it from the Primitive Mould. So, oh my gosh, are they cute or what? Now I'm just going to put that on and then wipe it back. So there's that. I can actually just wipe the whole thing a little bit, get a little bit of it. Cute. So that's gonna go right there. And I'll probably maybe I'll put a little yellow on there too, just because of the yellow in there, and top coat this once it dries. So you can make your own knobs with all these different molds. Especially this one because it had so many, you see it's got this little space here, it's got this little guy here, and this one here. So that was kind of a perfect way to do it. So anyway, that's all I got for today. I think I'm going to let this dry. I'll get that top part painted, and next time you see me, we'll maybe be working on the inside. So hopefully you enjoyed this. Watch for me on YouTube. And also, one more thing, Check out if you're not on my newsletter list, my Nest News, you can message me with your email and I'll add you to it. But we just opened up the registration for Christmas in August. If you didn't hear about it, I'm doing that August 19th. Here is one of the projects. I'm very excited about this one that I just created. I'm working on the rest. Hopefully get another one done tomorrow. Let me flip this around. So this is a little wooden garland that has multiple techniques on it: stamping, decoupaging, painting, and a little texture in there, and a little metallic paints in there as well. So that's one of the projects. There's going to be 4 total projects. It's August 19th from 10 to 2, maybe go a little bit later than that. And we're going to be doing Christmas type of holiday projects. We're going to have 1 fall project, so 3 holiday, 1 fall. And I decided to do it Christmas in August because I couldn't do it in July. And so I also had a lot of people asking me, can you do something for the holidays, before the holidays, so that we can kind of make gifts? We can, if you're a crafter and you sell things, you can do that as well. So all that to say, that's why it's Christmas in August. I kind of made up my own little holiday. So stay tuned. Oh, here's the other one. This is just partially done. It's going to be a big tray. And we did painting, we did the barnwood stamp, and then we're gonna stamp over this with some holiday cheer, put some handles on this, and there's gonna be a wash over top of all this. So that's another project. And there's gonna be some other things. You'll see pictures of them on my Facebook page. You can see information on the website. So I'll post all that here, and enjoy. Happy creating.